Hi, everybody. Welcome back to your 12 weeks of practice. We have a really great activity for you this week, and let me just explain some of the logic as to why we're doing it because it may seem like, without this logic, it may seem like, oh, of course, things drain my energy, or make me stressed. But what we really need to look at is how complex this actually is when we think about it. So, as you've probably figured out by now, we like to practice following the methods that we are taught from Stuart Shanker, who's a wonderful Canadian researcher who's put together this entire program called Self-Reg. And we actually follow the way that he teaches this stuff, which is incredibly complex. And can take forever to learn it. So we are again with the guideposts, as with these activities, trying to take this very complex science and narrowing it down into activities that are useful and in a practice kind of way for people. So here's the nuts, bolts, guts of the Shanker method for self-reg. There are all kinds of things that happen within our day, within our bodies, within our environment that are stressful. Definition of stress for the way that we do our work, which you're going to hear over and over again for 12 weeks, is anything that drains your battery is stressful. Now, there's good stress and there's bad stress. The good stress gets us to work every day, makes us pay our bills, makes us continue to have relationships with people, all those fun and wonderful things. That there's good stress that keeps us motivated, makes us be lifelong learners, all that kind of wonderful stuff. But there's a level of toxic stress that will continue to put us into stress cycles if we don't pay attention to it. So that's the kind of stress that we're looking at right now. Within the Shanker method, there's a very large part of this work that makes us have to become stress detectives. Stress detectives for ourselves, stress detectives for our children. And we have to do this for ourselves first because we have to figure out what this feels like in our bodies, in our minds, in our monkey minds, when we're triggered by something or when we haven't had enough sleep the night before and then we bark at the person who almost runs you over on the crosswalk, which is what happened to me today. Um, you know, Trying to get some self-realization about the physicality of stress in our bodies and what drains us of our batteries, which takes us a long time to rise up from, those kinds of things. So our goal within stress management and energy management is to try to stay as level as we can. This is hard to do on camera. To keep level biologically, emotionally, society wise. What happens to you when you watch too much news, all that kind of stuff. We want to try to stay as level as possible. So what we need to do is take an inventory of the things that drain our energy. So this is the activity. Yours might look like it in color if you printed it off in color. And it's a pen to paper activity where you actually have to write the things down. So this is where you're going to map the things that drain your energy. And we're going to actually post along with this a little cheat sheet to go along with each one of these circles is what we call a domain in the world of the Stuart Shanker method. And it's really complex stuff. But what we want you to think about is biology is all the things that happen in the body. We're going to have a cheat sheet here for you so you can read down examples of what that is. If you don't eat breakfast, I can guarantee you your energy is drained. Unbelievable number of families that don't eat breakfast. If you're not sleeping, you're not digesting, maybe you have a food allergy, all that kind of stuff. We talk a lot about the biological domain within our programs because it is the first thing that we need to look at. So there's the biological domain, there's the emotional domain, like are you really, or is there an upsetting thing that's happening in your life? Maybe, you have an aging parent, maybe there's a divorce, maybe there's those kinds of things that are very emotionally taxing for people. Maybe your sister's going through a hard time, all that kind of stuff can be emotionally draining. It drains the energy tank. Pro-social is the stuff that's going on in the world, how you relate to other people, how if our community is stressed, if you think about, I don't know, a community that has had a lot of illness or teen suicides, we'll say, in some communities where you see there's a lot of, or missing people. Suddenly there's all those, like what's happening within your community and your global environment is very stressful. depletes your energy down when you're paying too much attention to what's happening in other places. Um, there's also the cognitive domain is really big within our children and ourselves too. If we're learning new skills, if we're expecting to be able to get things done in a certain way. So, there's a lot of all of this kind of stuff that is all very, very connected. It's not siloed. It's not an individual thing. It happens within our body and it drains us. So, what we're asking you to do this week, there it is. There's a list of 10. If I were to do this list, I could probably list 30 things that are draining my energy every day, which is the reason why the rest and restoring is important too, because we need to put our energy tanks back up again. But think a little bit deeper when you're going through this, because sometimes there's hidden stressors too, things that we don't necessarily think about. Maybe it's the anniversary of your father's death. Maybe it's the anniversary of some, who knows, something that is could be really stressful for you to go like, oh, that's why I'm having such a crappy day. And you don't even really kind of realize what it is. So to kind of look deeper into your lives and figure out what it is. Sometimes we know when the person sitting next to us in the cubicle is a big pain in your butt and that's stressful. But look a bit deeper into that and come up with a list of 10 things. Because the next thing what we're going to do is do the same thing for our children. Well, we have to do it for ourselves first. To know that if you don't have a choice but to go to this meeting and it's going to be very stressful for you, how are you going to take care of yourself afterwards? And that's the important part of this, is because adults need to be able to take care of themselves. It's really important. So we hope you have a really great week, and we hope you really think about this activity. And don't sit down and go blah, 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 in the first 5 minutes that you get it. Really sit with it, think about it, process it, scratch it out. If you need to take another piece of paper, do the same thing too. People have busy, stressful lives, and everything drains us. So the next thing will be like, how are we going to recognize this in our children too? So be kind to yourself when you're doing this, and take care of yourself afterwards. It's an activity that could stir up all kinds of memories and emotions for you. So, but know that this is a practice that everybody needs to do, and these change throughout your life as well. So this will be a snapshot of time for you right now. So anyway, we'll check in with you next week and we'll talk about it, and you can go over these things where you kind of will be able to have a safe place to talk about it. So we're another really great practice, and so much science behind this. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. We'll get into it more during your live session. Okay, bye.